Welcome everyone. This is a pick a card reading for the month of February 2019. I'm going to ask you to pick a number 1 through 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. I'll leave timestamps in the comments so that you can go right to the reading that you choose. Please let me know if these readings were helpful to you, and thank you for watching. Alright, so for those of you who chose number 1, let me clear my throat and let the car go by. This is very interesting. I don't know if I've ever done a reading quite like this. This is really, first of all, I'll say that I don't think that you're staying in sort of the vibration that you've been in, I think, for this month. And it's a positive one. It's good. It's manifesting. It's pretty stable. You have a lot of like power, self-power, and power over kind of your environment and what's going on around you. You have a good kind of grasp on how to use your resources and that kind of thing. And I just see that continuing. So I'll just kind of start there, I guess, because that's the most simplistic thing. And then everything else I'm getting in the reading is like, it just seems like a very specific, some kind of very specific incident. And a warning, pretty much. So it has to do with the wrong people knowing the wrong information, the wrong people knowing too much information, people spilling information, people being either not taking certain information seriously, or they kind of don't care, or they may be venting or something like that, but somebody knows too much, and somebody, not to make you fucking paranoid, but like, that's what I'm getting here, is that somebody knows too much and somebody does not keep their mouth shut, or something like that. I'm getting, especially if it has to do with telling people your business, possibly you telling people other people's business, or something like that. Somebody telling somebody else's business. It's not even really their business to tell, but for some reason they know a lot about it and they don't keep their mouth shut. That's kind of the gist of what I'm getting. Can be, okay, I want to say somebody, God, this is so fucked up because I don't want to make people like paranoid and like looking over their shoulder, but I guess that's good. It's necessary, and this is happening for a reason. So hopefully this is helping some of you guys, and can kind of give you a heads up, because it looks like somebody who's close to you, possibly in your family, or just somebody who's in your inner circle. Somebody they have a lot of information, and I think it's it's either somebody that you trust too much, or somebody that you trust who trusts somebody else who's not trustworthy too much, or something. Some people are sort of taking for granted, I think, people that they know. They're taking for granted people that they know being private with the information that they're giving them. They might be taking for granted people that they know having too much information. It might be that somebody knows something about you and you don't even know that they know that about you, but for some reason they find out, right? Something having to do with that. Someone who appears to, and may even be somebody who, cares about you and that kind of thing, but that for some reason they don't have any kind of decorum when it comes to who they're sharing information with, I think. I don't think there is sort of an element of like, okay, maybe they just don't care, right? But some kind of like they don't really care, they don't take it seriously, or they're venting or something like that. I don't think that they're necessarily trying to harm you, but I think that there could be a very real chance of that, and so you kind of want to watch what other people sort of know, and maybe even communicate to them that they need to not be saying things or something like that, right? Something that you can do to sort of I guess let people know, right? They're very, very much sort of, this story is very, very much kind of urging you to take this situation differently than you would normally. And it does seem like it may be you who is the person who's trusting somebody a little bit too much with too much information. And it's also possible that you trust somebody to have more information than they actually have, right? It could be the opposite, where you think that, okay, somebody's going to do something in this way because, of course, they have all this information, right? But maybe they don't have quite as much information as you think they have, or the information that they have is a little bit wrong or something like that, so it can be good to double check that. But just something about, don't assume that you know everything that's going on, right? Take this as a new situation. Take this as something that you may be naive about, that there's some things that you don't know, that there's something that is going on that you're not kind of privy to, and go from there, right? Rather than just kind of acting like business as usual and being very kind of not strict, not tight with your sort of your world and that kind of thing. I'm very much getting a sort of a, it's somebody that's really an in the moment kind of person, and they know a lot, right? They're the kind of person that for some reason they just have a lot of information about what's going on, and they're just the kind of person who gets really caught up in the moment. If they may be upset in the moment, maybe you upset them, maybe something else upsets them, and they're just venting at somebody or something like that, and they accidentally let something slip. Something like that, I think. I think it's something like that, and something like I said, where somebody's trusting the wrong people. So maybe it's the people that person is kind of letting things slip to that can't be trustworthy, but something's going on. I guess this is the only part that we haven't talked about, is this, which is your sort of your blessings this month. I don't know why I'm leaving that for last, but I think that there's a well, first of all, just keeping things to yourself, obviously. Keeping things to yourself, keeping kind of self-preservational, but also aware, right? Self-aware and aware of what's going on around you, aware of the kinds of people that you might trust or something like that. Aware that doing some kind of reflection about just what's going on, right? To take that time to think about it, and to not just spill everything to everybody, but to really look at what's going on and make sure that you're keeping people at kind of an arm's length, not in like, I don't know, it doesn't, I don't think, have to be in a bad way, but just in a way that's using caution, right? That's kind of almost coming from a place of assuming that people, even if they might have your best interests in mind, maybe they are somebody who has a hard time controlling their mouth or something like that, right? They're just somebody that, even if they mean the best for you, or they're close to you, they just, there's something that's not safe going on, I guess, right? Or some kind of information that like is not trying to come out into the open, that for some reason they're letting people know who don't need to know, I guess. So yeah, definitely keep it in your kind of inner circle. I think that it doesn't seem like there's going to be, I think that your story does kind of hold up in a way that if people do find out some of this stuff, I don't think it's a good thing, but I don't think it's necessarily a super detrimental thing, because I think that your story is sort of sound, if that makes sense. Like, you do have some justification even in these things that you want to keep private, right? There can be a million reasons why you would want to keep something private, and that's fine. But I think that if it does kind of get out, I think that, like I said, it's not necessarily like it could be a negative thing that happens from that, but I think that your integrity in that kind of thing isn't necessarily up for question. So that's a positive, but still, you want to watch out, and you want to take this situation as a brand new situation, right? Even though you're still, like I said, you're still in this kind of kind of seems like a power mode, kind of, right? A mode of kind of making things happen and being very in touch with kind of what's going on around you and stuff like that. You're still in that mode. They just want you to make sure that you're not getting kind of lazy with it. My time's gonna run out. Let's see. Yeah, they just want to make sure that you're not getting lazy with it, right? And that you're still up on top of your game, even though you're in the middle of this kind of, things have been going well and they're still going well and that kind of thing. But you need to keep keep an eye on who's around you a little bit. Make sure that you're evaluating things in a way that's good for you and good for your community and the things that you've built, and good for that other person too, right? Okay, I hope that this extremely specific general reading was helpful for some of you guys. Please let me know if it was. This one especially, I'm interested who chose this and if it was helpful or useful. So I don't know, either right now maybe or at the end of February next month, if some of this stuff kind of came up, please do let me know. Yeah, thank you all for watching, and goodbye. Okay, for those of you who chose number 2, the energy that I'm getting, the general kind of energy for this month is something about sort of coming out of hibernation or something like that, or wanting to maybe like release something to the world, or something about sort of coming out of, like, not, I guess coming out of your shell in a way or something like that, but like coming, I don't know, moving out of like a private space into a little bit more of a public space, or just a more of like an interactive space. I'm seeing kind of like a hyper focus on it, maybe a little bit of anxiety about it. You're dreaming about it and things like that, possibly. And also studying it, looking at kind of what you can look at before you sort of take action. That's kind of the level of like, there's a little bit of resistance to sort of move out of this private area, whether it's because like that's just sort of the type of person you are, or maybe you've just been in that area so long, or you're just a little bit anxious about how you are going to be received, or how your whatever it is that you're trying to sort of move out into the public is going to be received, or something like that. Okay, I think I'm talking too fast. Let's see. Yeah, so definitely anxiety, definitely some fears, and specifically some fears having to do with, like I was saying, like how you'll be received, feeling like you won't fit in, maybe feeling like there's not a place for you, feeling like maybe you're better off kind of in the background or something like that, and a little bit unsure about things, pretty much, and feeling like maybe you're breaking into a world that's already kind of complete without you, is what I'm seeing. And just, yeah, fear around reaching out and having others reach out to you too, because that's another theme that I'm seeing, which is that you may be receiving some kind of like offers and things. That's such a like cliche thing to say in a reading, but definitely maybe maybe receiving some like offers and things this month, and or there's sort of like a wish granted kind of vibe, also a cliche thing to say, but like there's sort of that, there's like a net for you there somewhere, and I think that that's coming from the exact thing that you're sort of afraid of is sort of what the opposite of that is, kind of more the reality, which is that there is a place for you, and it's actually kind of an important place. And I'm seeing that sort of, maybe you can relax a little bit if you know that the people that you're going to be dealing with and things like that, it's something that's familiar to you, or the thing that you're sort of bringing out into the public maybe is something that's very familiar to you. There's something, huge element of what's happening that's like familiar enough that you can kind of rest on that a little bit and feel like there's a big part of what's happening that you don't have to kind of worry about simply because of that. And yeah, maybe the people that you're sort of going to be in contact with or something like that, are already people that you know, they're people in your community or something like that. And I think also that you might have a little bit more, let's see, what do I want to say? I think it's going to be a little less intense once you actually get out there than it feels like it is right now. I think it's going to be a little bit more like fleeting, like some of these negative feelings are a little bit more fleeting, and or like once you actually start in motion on whatever this is, it's going to be like kind of one thing after another, and like environment changing a lot and stuff like that. So there's not going to be like huge time to sort of worry about it once you get into it. But looks like you're sort of into like the, very pre-stage, not very pre-stages, but pre-stages right prior, or very beginning stages or something like that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, they definitely want you to, this card is coming up prominently for your sort of like advice card, or the energy that you want to typify, and it's it has to do, I think, with like I was saying before, like with really fitting in and sort of an environment where everybody kind of has their job and has their sort of place or something like that. And it's not in a rigid way or whatever. It's more about like using your gifts and using your talents and using kind of your desires and things like that to find a place where you're going to really shine and be of use to people in some way. And they want you to focus less on sort of observing how other people are doing it, and even though they might be very skilled at whatever it is or something, or their way of doing it has been very successful for them, that's not necessarily, or it's not necessary, right? That you don't have to necessarily do it that way. Like what you are doing needs to be in line with who you are, basically. And I do see that you are in tune with kind of who you are, because you've been in this sort of the hermit stage, right? This sort of like internal stage, that, and or sort of you might be have realized already that you need to know what that is, and you're kind of have been going through a journey to sort of figure out what that is, and but I'm seeing that there's definitely some insight there, so that shouldn't be a huge issue, I don't think, for you. It's just more about having confidence in yourself and seeing and sort of taking the steps out there, and then also seeing where you can be really, really useful and of service. And I think it's even the sort of vibe, like, even though I'm talking about like that you may be sort of in your same community still, or interacting with the same people you know, or sort of like doing something that's very familiar to you in some way, that it's not in like a way where the community wants to sort of accept you because of that. It's like they want to accept you because they really do need what you have to offer, and they want what you have to offer, independent of sort of their relationship to you or something like that. Like it is something that can be very good for them and good for everyone else, and that's something that they want to support you on, just, you know, in spite of kind of who you are, not in spite of, but you know what I mean? Even if you have a positive relationship, a negative relationship, whatever, it's sort of like what you have to offer is something that is really wanted and needed, I think. And I kind of see this energy that is sort of leaving your life and being replaced right now as a little bit more gratifying for you, I hope, and a little bit, it's sort of busy, it's very interactive, it's very using your skills and that kind of thing, which I think that you maybe already kind of have been doing, but in a little bit less of a fulfilling or dynamic way, I think. And I'm seeing just more like, yeah, just a more dynamic kind of thing happening. And I guess maybe that's just because you're reaching out more, and you're bringing more people into what you're doing, or that kind of thing. So yeah, let's see. Is that everything I wanted to say? I feel like I just really talked super fast. I guess I did for 8 minutes. Okay, I think that's everything for you guys for right now. Right? Yeah, let's see. Let's pick one more card for your sort of, what's kind of coming for you. What's the sort of arriving energy that you can kind of look forward to once you get through this sort of anxiety or whatever, this hump, this sort of coming out process. Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so things are like of the ultimate kind of balance, like I said. Things are really working well and working smoothly, I think. They're really, things are being kind of, can be kind of realigned to sort of just fit your needs, right? This is a very positive reading, so that's cool. Okay, I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Have a good February. Okay, bye.